Hello, everybody. Welcome to the demonstration of ProAgent, an AI platform tool designed to be there for you, with you, during live client meetings. And this is specifically for home buyers. All right, so let's dive right into it here. When you open up ProAgent, you'll obviously have a blank slate just like so. Notice several tabs up here. We have overview, amenities, development, schools, concerns, and suggested neighborhoods here. So let's dive right into the functionalities here. Place your cursor over the neighborhood research, and this panel will open up. You can see that it's divided by the neighborhood recommender and the neighborhood researcher. Let's first take a look at the neighborhood researcher, and you can notice you can put in an address, a neighborhood, or a zip code. Let's start by entering a neighborhood. You can select it, and you can hit search, and within a matter of seconds you'll have so much information here about that particular neighborhood. At the top you have all the pricing, the basic medium pricing for both property types, average price per square foot, days on market, and this is really nice to have a 5-year appreciation. You have single family house and townhouse and condos. You can tell them this is the appreciation percentage rate as well as the dollar amount. And this breaks it up by an annual basis here. 4 cards underneath of housing mix in terms of what percentages of that particular neighborhood are residential and what is like retail and commercial. So for this particular neighborhood, it's 70% residential. Average home size and age. You have the particular architectural and style, and then you have the neighborhood identity. If you scroll down, you have all the demographics here. Now, again, you don't have to iterate through all of this. You hit a few points here, and you're going to sound like an expert for any single neighborhood here. We have the occupation and employment distribution here. We have the income distribution, age distribution, and the ratio of owners and renters here. Now, if they're really pressing you, I particularly don't like, giving them ethnicity because I don't really, care about that. If they're really pressing you about ethnicity, you can go ahead and flip this over and you have that ethnicity distribution. Now, this is just the overview tab. You have amenities if they're looking or asking you about any grocery stores, parks, public transportation, etc. You have all this here right at your fingertips. Jumping over to the development tab, you have 2 sections here. You see developments within the neighborhood and city-wide infrastructure projects. You click this and it's going to expand. We're not going to put every single permit here. This is going to be data and information overload. All right, just a few insights. Actually, with the development tab within the neighborhood, it's going to have most of the permits right here. For the city infrastructure projects, we have a little bit more detailed here because they're going to have a bigger impact for that particular city. All right, it's going to give you a description here, locality, estimated timeline, and the potential impact here. Jumping over to schools, we have all of the schools listed within that particular neighborhood and their grade school ratings and all of the breakdown of the school ratings here. Scrolling down here, we have the private schools as well, and obviously those don't have the great school ratings. Switching over to the concerns tab, if they're asking about concerns or anything that they should be looking out for, again, you don't have to iterate through all of these, but you can iterate through some of them and sound like the neighborhood expert. Homeless encampments here, transitional interim housing, common crime patterns, regional variances, and home buyer takeaways here. Okay, that was the neighborhood. And if you put in a neighborhood or zip code, all those are going to populate as such. Now, what happens if they throw you an address during the meeting? You're going to put in that specific address, hit search. And what's going to happen is that the Zillow page is going to open up on your default browser. Now, you can go through here, say whatever comments you want to about that particular property. What happened simultaneously when you were over here having fun? ProAgent was working for you. It populated all of these tabs based on this particular neighborhood. So again, you can give the lead your general comments about this particular home. You can jump right over to ProAgent and dive into any of these specific informational pieces or data for you to sound like the neighborhood expert. Okay, so before we go over to the neighborhood recommender, I want to take a look at this calculator here. This is the mortgage calculator, and we simplified it as much as possible. We can't simplify it anymore here. And we designed this because you're not the lender. If they're asking you about pricing, you're giving them very ballpark pricing here. So what if they ask you, hey, based on a $1.5 million purchase, 20% down payment, what's going to be the average, what's going to be the monthly payment here? Now, this rate gets populated on a weekly basis, so you don't have to go and find the rate. Of course, you can edit it if you want it, but this is kind of the average here. Let's say they say, hey, is $9,000 is too much for me. I only want to spend $7,500. Head over to the monthly payment calculator. Well, you only want to spend $7,500 and you want 20% down payment. Super, super simple. Put that monthly payment in here, estimated purchase price, and here you go. Again, we've made this super, super simple because we know that it is just ballpark pricing that the lead wants from you. Okay, now let's head over to the neighborhood recommender here. This is another very powerful tool here because oftentimes they're going to ask you what neighborhood you recommend. Let's get their commute or their anchor point here. Let's say they work at Apple. They're looking for a single family house within, let's say, 10 miles here. Their max price is, let's say, $2.5 million. They're okay to live in Mountain View, obviously Cupertino, and let's say they're open to living in Sunnyvale as well. Now, I know you want to hit the search, but before we do that, go over to the adjust button here. What's going to happen is this radar graph is going to pop up, and you can dive even deeper beyond the criteria. You can ask them what are their priorities. Is it as an investor, do they care more so about the highest rent cap rate? Do they care specifically and only just about, hey, living the closest possible within that criteria, the closest possible to the anchor point, which is Apple in this scenario? Or do they just want the largest property within that criteria? Or they want the highest amenities? They want a high walk score and so forth. Or is it appreciation? Whatever, or is it a combo of these two? Well, whatever it is, set that priority. After you obviously ask them what it is, hit confirm, then hit search. And what's going to happen within a few seconds, you're going to have a fresh list of very, very focused neighborhoods specific to their criteria and the priorities. They're going to be ranked from best to worst, so to speak. You can expand one of them or all of them. And you can quickly tell them why this is the best neighborhood based on their criteria as well as their priorities. For this particular one, it was appreciation. Within 10 miles of Apple Park, within this criteria, this and the highest appreciation, this is the best zip code, and these are the best neighborhoods. 52% over the past 5 years, or 8.8%, which is really, really high. And here's the annual breakdown here. Current median price, notice 2.6 is obviously more than 2.5, but ProAgent also knows that there is some flexibility. It's not super, super tight about this particular criteria. And by the way, we're not showing neighborhoods that have within 10 miles that have too low of a median price, right? Because they're looking to spend 2.5. We're not going to show them a house that's like $1 million. You can articulate a few of these other key points, but if they're wanting to dive even deeper, actually, let's change this up. I'll give you an example. Let's adjust this to amenities. Hit confirm, search. Can expand all. You can see the first one has the highest amenities. Park score is 82. Many more parks, restaurants, and so forth. If they're looking for size of the property, hit confirm. Do that again. And here we go. This is like the largest on average within these neighborhoods. Now, what if they're looking for more information on any one of these particular neighborhoods? Well, you don't have to go in here and type in that particular neighborhood. We've made it very simple. One click, hit this research button right here, and within a matter of seconds, all these tabs here are populated with all the information you need to sound like the neighborhood expert on any of these recommended neighborhoods here. There you have it, folks. The power of ProAgent. Have this by your side. When a buyer lead is interviewing you, I promise you that your client retention rate is going to increase. They're not going to be, if they talk to another agent that doesn't have ProAgent and you articulate this properly, you are going to be the neighborhood expert on every single neighborhood. There you have it.